Disney CEO Bob Iger says the company will be quietening the noise in relation to the culture war in recently released memos and notes. Well, it appears we are winning yet again, gentlemen. Either that or pigs really can't fly. And of course, that is if you believe Bob when he says this, rather than simply point towards his pantaloons and pointing out that there are massive, big, billowing clouds of smoke currently pouring forth from them. Which, don't get me wrong, it's a leap of logic I can absolutely understand. One might indeed make a educated guess that the sudden increase in the room's temperature might have something to do with Bob Iger's underwear currently being on fire, but I am actually somewhat willing to believe Bob here, to a degree, mind you, as honestly this kind of fits in perfectly with what I've been saying for a while now, namely that Disney knows what's going wrong. They're not complete idiots here. They understand they're currently getting boned. As we've seen in the various earning calls recently, for example, the company has again and again admitted that their more woke products simply aren't selling. They're not driving subscribers to their platforms, and their subscription service, one of their big bets, the future of the company, simply isn't getting off the ground because nobody's watching what they're making. They're not unaware of this. They understand, and they know why as well. You gotta bear in mind here, these companies are ginormous, ridiculously so. And with the enormous slump in, quote unquote, in COVID, etc., which saw an increase in a lot of digital entertainment, but a massive slump in the parks, the companies have for a while now been kind of struggling with figuring out what exactly is going on here. Because they hear the noise, of course, but it's very hard to separate the noise from facts. Bearing in mind, when we yell at them to go like, oh, stop making things woke, there will be 1,000 other people, often within the company, yelling, oh, no, that's just a loud minority, etc. And it takes the company a lot of time of sorting through the data, the earnings, the sales, etc., to try and figure out, okay, what is actually the truth here? Because for a long time, they have been told by everyone that they need to be a socially responsible company. And there's an interesting little quote down here. At the time, Iger was responding to an investor who said the company was becoming too concerned with social issues. Our primary mission needs to be to entertain and to have a positive impact on the world, Iger said at the time. I'm very serious about that. It should not be agenda-driven. Again, this kind of falls neatly into the line with the things we've heard earlier, where the Disney company appears to understand again that it is the politics that is hurting them, which is why he says it needs to be not agenda-driven. But at the same time, he's also trying to straddle the line here by saying, and to have a positive impact on the world. That's the little starburst virtue signal going, pew, we are a virtuous company, please don't hurt us. As there's going to be a long period of time when the company is trying to move from one stance to the other, where they're going to be attempting to please both sides. Which is going to be working out just about as well as every other attempt to please both extremes, frankly, but well, we'll see. As, again, there are interesting mentions here. Disney has also faced social media backlash from conservative commentators over the casting of Halle Bailey, a black actress, in the lead role of Ariel in The Little Mermaid, the race swap. They also mention Lightyear here. The Little Mermaid movie ended up making $550 million worldwide. Well, actually not quite. It ended up earning $570 million worldwide, not making, because of course we need to take into consideration the production costs first and foremost. So, The Little Mermaid appears to have had a production cost of around $250 million, with an additional marketing budget of $140 million, meaning that before the movie even left the gate, it had cost about $400 million. At that point, it earned $570 million, so it had a profit of $170. Now, bear in mind that for a movie to be considered even a marginal success, it needs to earn at least twice the production budget, otherwise it simply isn't worth it, with all of the additional costs, the royalties, taxes, yada yada yada. So it was not a success. It was a pretty nasty flop. As for Lightyear, well, it made $226 million worldwide. Lightyear is reported to have cost $250 million just to make without the marketing budget. That probably lost a solid $150 odd million. That sends a pretty clear message to Disney that even something as, I think, relatively minor as the same-sex couple sharing a brief kiss can actually be the kiss of death in the current market. And again, I maintain that the kiss itself was no big deal, but we know the context behind the kiss, because, well, Disney people have told us that it is literally there to push an agenda. Why people react very negatively towards it. Meanwhile, what was a massive success? Oh, that's right, Avatar: The Way of Water. Now, Avatar: The Way of Water is at its heart a very conservative tale. It is about fatherhood. It's about protecting one's family and doing what is necessary to keep one's family and one's people safe against foreign invaders. Now, in this case, the foreign invaders needs to be humans, so... Well, it's kind of funny that to get a positive father role figure in a movie, he needs to be like an 8-foot-tall goddamn alien, but details. That ended up earning $2.3 billion. Jesus. Now, Avatar cost a lot to make, I'll guarantee you that much. It cost a landslide. So it's still not going to be that much of a profit overall. It's still going to be a very hefty one. But compared to, for example, Maverick... $1.495 billion out of a production budget of $175 million. Let's say 300-400 million total, right, with marketing. It still earns so much money, it's not even funny. And Maverick, it is the simplest story ever, literally. Like, the enemy has bullshit weaponry. Where is the bullshit weaponry? Oh, in the Middle East somewhere, in Make all it Uppistan. Okay, how did they need to get in there? Well, they gotta do some stupid shit and fire the plasma torpedoes down the vent of the Death Star, which is basically what they need to do, and then escape from the pursuing fighters. It is the dumbest story ever, and yet nobody cared, because that was exactly what they wanted, a nice, stupid action story. It was fantastic. This is the kind of signals that I guarantee you Disney is picking up on. It's also the fact that they are currently investing in the parks, $60 billion in the parks, and another $17 billion in the, oh no, that was the park, what was it? No, $60 billion in the parks and $17 billion in the cruise lines, I think. I read here somewhere, I can't find it now. Anyways, they're investing a lot in the parks and the cruise lines. Why? Well, because the draws in the parks and the cruise lines are the already established stuff. People go to these to remember old memories of Star Wars or old memories of Disney. Nobody's going there to watch their new shit. Nobody's going there to watch Black Little Mermaid. They're going to watch the original one. Disney is entirely aware of this. Disney is essentially realizing that it is selling the dream of old Disney rather than current Disney. Which is, again, why I am actually inclined to believe Bob when he says he wants to quieten the noise. Now, of course, words are going to require actions as well, as this is not quietening the noise in any way whatsoever. And it's going to take time, as I always say with this. It's a very slow process. Hell, I started saying this a year ago, and I'll still be saying it a year from hence. The company needs to, first and foremost, realign its topmost brass. Now, Bob Iger is already on board, it seems, in my opinion. He is then going to have to affect all of the rest of the board and go, okay, it's not making money. We will tank our streaming service if we continue with this. We've got to look at Maverick and The Way of Water instead of The Little Mermaid and Buzz Lightyear. That's the direction we need to go in. After that, they then need to purge the entire company, which is going to take years. Netflix started this purge, I would like to point out, like, I think 2 or 3 years ago now, we talked about Netflix starting to hire people who weren't willing to make entertainment simply for entertainment's sake. And lo and behold, the recent quality of Netflix has increased. The One Piece Netflix movie, although in my opinion it merely proved the fact that the anime will always be superior, then, well, it managed to provide a product to people who hate anime. One Piece, the anime for people who hate anime. And I'm right too, that's the worst part. But the reason why it's good is because they set all of the agenda aside. All of it. They basically made the One Piece version of Lord of the Rings, when Peter Jackson said, where he basically says, okay, we're not making a movie for us, we are making a movie for J.R.R. Tolkien. That's what they said with One Piece. We're not making this for us. This isn't for our credibility, this isn't for our sensibilities, this isn't for anything for us. This is about adapting a work the best way we can into live action. Perfect. That is exactly how you should do it, and Netflix is beginning to reap the rewards as well. Then the company needs to actually start doing stuff, and they can't start doing it immediately. As the recent debacle with Russell Brand has proven, the woke still has a tremendous amount of grip over the governments of the world. There was the recent thing, for example, where we now know that the British government sent out letters to various social media platforms asking what they were doing about Russell Brand's monetization. Now, Rumble, good boys that they are, told them to go shove it. So good big qualities to Rumble right there. But we know that this is what's going to happen to Disney as well. Disney is going to very carefully go one step back, one step back, one step back, until they arrive at our position. It cannot happen overnight. And even if it does, here's an interesting little question, right? Let's assume, for shits and giggles, that Disney manages to fulfill the full 180, right? It ends up with every movie, every enemy, every villain is a blatant SJW, obvious SJW. Like they're painted as the worst sorts of communist authoritarians imaginable, right? All of them are wearing pride flags, etc. And every hero is a bombastic, beating his chest conservative father figure, right? If assuming we get to that point, will that be enough to redeem Disney? Bearing in mind all of the years they've spent actively destroying shit. Or will we simply be better off to say, I don't actually care if you make anything good. I'm going to acquire it through alternative sources if I absolutely must, and I'm going to wait and watch your company burn, hoping that something better will rise from your ashes. Personally, I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. Because as much as I would like to see good entertainment, and Disney is the only ones in a position to provide it when it comes to, for example, things like Star Wars, as they literally own it, you know, it would be better for everyone if the entire company simply just chatted, wouldn't it? And gave other people a chance at the pie yet again. That would be the ideal. Have all of Disney's stuff become, what's the term again? Public sphere. You know, everybody can use it. Common license something. I forget the term right now. But you get what I mean. That would be better, but is it likely to happen? Well, Disney still has quite a lot of money to eat away at, so it really depends on how quickly they can transform from far left to far right, I suppose. We'll have to wait and see, but personally, I actually believe Bob when he says that he is going to try and quiet the noise. Whether or not he will succeed, however, that is a far larger question mark in my opinion. So please do let me know what you think as well down in the comment section below. If you believe Bob, if you don't believe Bob and why, or if you would rather just prefer if everything were to just burn. Until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I do hope to see you all again soon. Till then, have a good day.